Hey, what's going on, family? It's me, baby girl Slaughter, Nacey Denise, back to do another video, and I'm eating my lunch. So, I did a hour-long video yesterday, so this is going to be super short. I know I always say that, but this really is. Return of the Giants of Hollow Earth. Let's get into it, because you know I'm at lunch, so we're going to do this quick read today. We almost done with this book. If you recall, I read over chapter 12. I did part 1 and part 2. Yesterday, I discussed the cloning. I also discussed whether some humans are actually real and how we live within a simulation of a simulation. So I want to get into chapter 13, Abducted Underground, because we only have a couple of chapters left in this series and we're done with this book. Okay. So let's get into it. This is Claudio Nicelli. I hope I said his name right. If he ever sees this video, Claudio. Return of the Giants from Hollow Earth, chapter 13, Abducted Underground. In the southern sector of Nashura lies one of the most active installations of the Grays of Orion, and also one of the most chilling. This base, identifiable by 3 primary dome-shaped structures encircled by blue energy rings, operates as a biological intervention center for humans who were pre-selected. Now, I'm going to have to go do some digging on Google Earth and see if I can see something. It says 3 primary dome-shaped structures. Would that be in the base or in the part of Colorado? Grand Canyon? I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. I mean, I don't know where it is. Is it in Alaska? We don't know, but I'm certainly going to see if I can do some research. So it says humans that were pre-selected. Its presence isn't obvious. Rather, we ran into this base long ago. It is set in a zone the custodians chose strategically, allowing them to carry out these abductions for subsequent study. The base's main functions include the capture, study, and manipulation of living humans through genetic extraction techniques, reprogramming of neural circuits, implants, and induce various forms of emotional interference, and in most cases, partial or total memory erasure trials. Remember when I talked about folks who are being abducted in the national parks, folks who are being abducted, period, and then they come back and they're missing time. They've missed a whole day. Their family members have put in, requested the police that they're missing, and then all of a sudden they just appear, okay, randomly. So this is what we know, all right? And they've had people to come on record to state that, yes, they've been abducted by aliens. And then you have doctors who have removed implants. I've reshared stuff over on Facebook about this stuff, right? I even have DVDs of things that happen to people, right? So this is a real thing. This is not pseudoscience and it's not science fiction. This is for educational purposes and it's not even entertaining. I'm just speaking facts, all right? So then it says, this base's main function is to capture, study, and manipulation of living humans through genetic extraction techniques, reprogramming of neural circuits, implants, and induce various forms of emotional interference, and in most cases, partially or total memory erasure trials. Selection of abductees follows specific genetic patterns, family lineages inherited from earlier humanities, and in some cases, unusual reactions to signals from the control system, everything meticulously planned by these beings, okay? The adjacent zone marked in the records as post-abduction remains is used as a disposal area for bodies that fail reprogramming protocols or present malfunctions after reinsertion. So there's a point where they drop the bodies off, y'all. This is not science fiction. This is real stuff. This actually happens on a daily basis. If you look at how many people are abducted every single day from the United States, not even worldwide, but I'm just saying in the US, and more specifically, the different races or lineages that are abducted and the children. I'm just telling you, this is real, okay? So there's a part where it says post-abduction remains is used as a disposal area for bodies that fail reprogramming protocols or present malfunctions after reinsertion. Many show deformities induced by poorly integrated implants. Some also end up there after using disused portals, causing several neural damage, among other effects. We fear these decisions aren't made entirely by the Greys. This species performs technical, executive functions and appears to respond to commands issued from a higher mental layer of the dome, where the edamins of Draco, the reptilians, also operate. The edamins often do not manifest physically, but their signals are detectable through certain frequencies and through accounts given by released abductees. Such abductions may be tied to returning the collective mind to the custodian's advantage. And this is why you got a lot of people who are day to day, they're in the system, they're in the simulation, they work, they go through college, they go through school, they go through the system, and they're programmed, and they have these people in places of power, and people who work for these corporations are in management positions. You even got some probably that are in blue collar positions, lower echelon, but for the most part, you got a lot of people running around here that are not us. And I'm just going to simply tell you, they're not. Okay. So then it says the area shows the area shows signs of radiation common in active facilities linked to the Greys of Orion. East of the main base, a smaller craft functions as a primary offloading point. The biotechnological larvae used in the first stage of implantation were found there. I will not detail more in this report for security reasons. All right. So they're using parasites or larvae to implant into people. I said parasites, but he said larvae. So when I think of larvae, I think of parasites. All right. That's where I'm getting that from. So that's not what he put in the book. I just want to clarify that. This is me talking. All right. The next part, it says this site is one of the most significant covert threats within the Terra Infinita. Nashura are underground. Any unauthorized attempt to approach by anyone other than the custodians or the Greys could be neutralized through high intensity psychic interference. Only a few, such as the Ancestrals and certain liberated units, know its true function and location. Thanks to them, we've made substantial progress towards shutting it down entirely in the near future. Okay, so I did put some things at the bottom. What did I put? National, what? Laboratory 1 of 16, Development, U.S. Department of Energy, Military Base. Okay, so I put in my notes, I was researching National Laboratory 1 of 16 research development under the Department of U.S. Energy, and it's a military base. So I was doing some research on myself. So I put that note there. So let me go ahead and read chapter 14, and then we just got one chapter left and we're done. Chapter 14, Danger in Nether Sophia. Suddenly, a low, almost electrical hum began to run through the corridors, and everything started to vibrate. Dim lights flickered along the passageways, and the tense calm of the Nether Sophia region snapped into a full state of alert. The Anakin giant went on guard. Other giants joined him. In an instant, they seemed to act like a living shield in front of everyone else. He glanced at a small console that quivered faintly and nodded, as if receiving a message in another language. Looks like they're here, he said quietly. Custodial drones. They track signals, any kind of frequency, and our radar shows they're far too close. They already know you're here. I didn't ask how. We'd fear this could happen. A giant woman gripped my arm, and with my guide, we went off as fast-paced down a corridor, slipping through automatic doors that sealed behind us. On the walls, indicator lights shifted colors from blue to red. I assumed it was a silent evacuation code. I heard hurried voices, whispered orders, children being led in silence through narrow passageways. The inhabitants of the Nether Sophia knew exactly what to do. They were clearly well-trained for this. No one shouted, shoved, or ran aimlessly. Every person was a piece in a survival plan, perfected over a long time. We need to reach the south gate, said the woman with the long braided hair. It's the only access still outside of custodial tracking, but we can't use the main routes. They're too exposed. She guided us into a tunnel so low we had to crouch. We moved hunched over, trying not to imagine this could be our end. The giant moved with startling agility, always ahead of us as if she had memorized every inch of that maze. Suddenly, the air changed density, breathing became easier, but an acrid chemical stench flooded the passage. My companion stopped and raised a hand, demanding absolute silence. He did like this. The Polarians again, he whispered. Barely moving his lips as they could detect us, we're finished, the woman added. I held my breath. For endless seconds, I could hear only my own pulse and a faint, wet, organic, dragging sound behind a wall of solid rock. We didn't see the Polarium worms, but I felt their presence like a near piercing threat, capable of breaking through any defense. Fear took hold of me completely. The giant signaled us to move on. We slipped through another gate, descended a staircase, and finally emerged into a lateral gallery that seemed like an old ventilation duct. From there, through a camouflage exit, we reached a quiet, neutral corridor. Listen, the woman said, if they catch us here, the entire network falls, not just Nether Sophia. The message, the map, your memory, everything would disappear under a new layer of forgetting. You must get out. Not for yourself, but for everyone who can still wake up. I felt a huge weight on my shoulders, but suddenly it wasn't fear. It was a responsibility. We moved forward in silence, guided by the light of an ancestral lamp the giant carried. The tunnel stretched on for minutes that felt like hours until the air shifted again. Now cold, not from any artificial duct, but natural, almost painful at first. The surface was close. Before we climbed the last stair, the giant paused and said, don't forget this. What you saw here must not become a motive or hatred or division. This knowledge isn't to raise an army or to answer with violence. It's to remember, to inspire, to prepare the ground for our return. She set her hand on my shoulder. You are not alone. We will always be near in silence, in the silence. I climbed the stair. Behind me remained the white light, the corridors, the whispers of the beautiful underground city. Above, the wind of the surface, icy, yes, but real, was waiting. And I felt the relief of feeling it again. I knew then that everything depended on what I could tell and how it would be understood, because the bond between the giants and humanity is clearly not finished. And this is the part where you see the giant woman, the human, that took him up the stairwell to the corridor to escape. And so the last part that I have is chapter 15. And when I come back, we're going to finish that. This again was just a short 15-minute read. So we've read chapters 14 and 13. And when I return, we're going to read the last final chapter, which is chapter 15. And again, this is Claudio Nercelli, The Return of the Giants from the Hollow Earth. And when I come back, we'll finish that chapter off, and then we're going to deep dive into Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids, because we only have a few chapters left of that too as well. So I appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank you so much. And remember what I always say, be the change you want to see all around this Earth Dome, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. This week, finish my lunch and go back. I hear my computer going off, so I've got emails I got to check from my supervisor and my manager. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. You take care. All right.